Hello everyone and welcome to Nervous Nessie. The travel season is coming up very soon, so I wanted to share with you some things that you need to do before you travel internationally. Whether you have booked your trip already or not, doesn't matter. Everything in this video you're going to want to do before you actually go on your trip to another country. The first thing that you want to do is check the expiration date on your passport. Most people don't think about it. They get a passport, they're supposed to last for 10 years, but you forget about it. You're just going along in life and you don't pay attention to the fact that 10 years has passed. And so you want to check your passport before you book your flights to another country. However, if let's say you're just now watching this video and you've already booked your trip, check your passport. If your passport is going to be expiring, then you want to try and get it expedited as soon as possible. Just know that it can take a while. Now, in the United States, they finally have it to where you can renew your passport online. Yay, party! But it can still take time. So check your passport before you book a trip, or if you've booked the trip, go ahead and check it anyways. Along the same line as checking your passport's expiration date is you want to check for any type of visa requirements for the country or countries that you're going to be going to. It can take time and it can cost money to get those visas. So you want to check what the visa requirements are. Maybe there's certain documentation you have to provide and you need to take the time and gather up all the documents that you're going to need in order to get your visa. So you want to check the visa requirements before you travel internationally. You also want to check for any entry and exit fees for the country you're going to be going to. Now, this doesn't apply to all countries, but each country is different. And some countries do require you to pay a fee in order to enter the country and exit the country. So before you go on the trip, check and see if the country you are going to or countries you are going to have entry and exit fees. It's best to actually check this when you are booking your trip. That way you can account for the money that needs to be allotted for those fees before you book your trip, because you could go over your budget. When you are booking your flight, or let's say you've already booked your flight for an international trip, then you want to check and see what the travel restrictions are. Each country is different about what you can and cannot bring into the country. This could be things like medications. There are some, controlled medications, depending on the country you are in, that in your country, it may be mildly controlled. You may just need a prescription for it. Whereas in another country, it is completely prohibited. And the last thing you want to do is arrive in a country ready to go on your trip and you get detained. You go to jail. That would not be good. So check and find out what the travel requirements are for each country. Find out what is illegal and legal there. So check the flight restrictions on what you can and cannot carry to that country. This leads me into the next item, which is check and find out what is considered illegal or legal in the country of your destination. It may be perfectly legal in the country you are in to have a recreational drug or have alcohol or do certain things like wearing a bathing suit to the beach. But just know that in some countries, all of that can be illegal. It can be illegal and you can be arrested wearing a bathing suit down at the beach and you think this is norm. Maybe you're completely covered up in your bathing suit. Your lady's wearing a one piece, covered up. But that's not covered up enough in certain countries. So before you go to the country, find out what is considered legal and illegal. Now, most of the time, it's going to give very common warnings whenever you search the internet for this. You're not expected to know every single law of the country. You probably don't know every single law of the country you live in. So when you go online, just search for illegal items or what is illegal in this particular country. 9 times out of 10, it's going to pop up and show you the most common mistakes that people make when they go to that country that is considered illegal. Also, before you travel internationally, you want to research what the cultural norms are for the country you're going to and for the specific region you're going to. Maybe the country you're going to is huge, but you're going to a specific city or specific region. Check and find out what the cultural norms are for that area. Why? Because what may be common to you and may not be offensive to you could be very offensive to other people. It can be considered illegal in some places, or you could just end up in a very bad situation. Things like shaking hands with someone, making eye contact. Where making eye contact is perfectly normal for you, in other countries it may be considered rude. Things like covering up if you are a woman. Maybe you have to have your hair covered. Especially check on this if you're going to be going to any type of religious sites when you're traveling. Maybe you are going to a certain holy place or temple or something for that actual country, and you want to go there, but the way you're dressed is completely inappropriate, and you may, number one, not be able to get in, and number two, you could get in a lot of trouble for showing up there inappropriately dressed. Same thing goes for entering certain places. You may have to take off your shoes. Now, this is more common in religious places and people's homes. But if you go there and you haven't researched and you see everyone else is taking their shoes off, you might want to take your shoes off as well. Also, tipping. Tipping is not common in all countries. In the United States, tipping is very, very, very common. It's everywhere. It's becoming everywhere. But in other countries, it can be considered rude to try and tip your waiter or your hotel staff or whoever it is. So you want to research this before you go on your trip. Another thing that you want to do before you travel internationally is to check for whatever vaccines you may need for the trip. Certain countries require you to have certain vaccines to protect you from any type of diseases that may be very prevalent in the country of your destination. Vaccines can, number one, it takes time to go and get a vaccine. Usually you have to go to a doctor and get approved for a vaccine and then go get the vaccine. It also takes money to pay for the vaccine because they're not going to be free. And so you want to research what vaccines you need for your destination and get those done and taken care of well in advance. Before traveling internationally, you also want to check for any type of travel warnings. Now, you want to do this when you're booking your trip to see if there's any travel warnings. That way you're not booking your trip, obviously, when something bad is going on. But let's say you've already booked your trip. Before you go on your trip, day before, 2 days before, check for travel warnings. Travel warnings can be anything from weather related to maybe there's just unrest in the country, maybe there's some kind of emergency in the country, check for travel warnings right before you go on your trip to make sure that you aren't going to get there and you're in complete chaos. Along the same line of this is to check the weather before you go. Weather in some places can be drastically different from morning to night. I'm in Southern California. We have mastered the art of layering clothes because when you get up in the morning, it's kind of cold. It's kind of chilly outside. So you carry a jacket, but then 2-3 hours later, the jacket's gonna come off and you're gonna be going around, and then about midday, you're gonna wanna take off something else. You're gonna wanna have another layer, like a tank top underneath, because it's gonna get really hot really fast. And then as the afternoon comes on, you put a shirt back over that tank top, and then when it gets nighttime, it gets chilly again and the coat goes back on. Check the weather before you go. Some areas of certain countries, I'm originally from the East Coast, where rain can happen at any given point in time. It could be completely sunny and then 10 minutes later, it is pouring down rain. So check the weather before you go. Check when you're booking to see and get an idea of, okay, it's this time of the year. This is kind of what they expect the weather to be. And then check a couple of days before your trip to get a more accurate reading of what your actual trip is going to look like as far as the weather. Another thing you want to do before you travel internationally is to check the conversion rates on your money. Depending on the situation, it could be better for you to convert your money to the local money of your destination while you're at home, or it could be a better deal for you to convert it once you arrive at your destination. Do your research and find out, because you want to get the best bang for your buck when you're converting your bucks. So check the conversion rate before you travel. You also want to check for either phone plans or SIM cards or an eSIM card before you go to another country. Some phone plans have to where you have a certain amount of days for your trip and you can actually go to that country and use your phone like normal. Some phone plans have certain countries that you can add that country on and use it then. But if your phone plan does not have an international option, then you can either use a SIM card or an eSIM card. Again, do your research. Do you buy this before you travel or do you buy this at your destination? Generally speaking, it is better to get an eSIM before you travel. There are many websites out there that you can go online, research what the plan is, and put in your information about how long you're going to be in the destination, what the destination is, and you can use your phone whenever you arrive at the destination. This will cut down on any kind of SIM card scams that could be prevalent at your destination. And that brings me into the next tip, which is to research any type of scams that are going on in your destination. A lot of times there are very common scams across the board in many different countries, but there could be scams out there that are very indicative of the country of your destination. And so you want to be aware of that. It could be things that could be very common to you because of the country you're from, and the scammers know this and they take advantage of you and you don't even realize you're scammed until it's too late. So do your research and find out what scams are going on in the country of your destination. Another thing that you're going to want to do before you travel internationally is to get the correct adapter. There are many different adapters out there. Each country has its own outlets that they use. Some of them are drastically different from what you're used to. Now, there are some adapters that are kind of multi-adapters that can cover different regions, different countries. One side covers maybe Europe. One side covers the United States and Canada and Mexico. Each adapter is different. Do your research, find a good adapter that will work in the destination city. Now, if for some reason maybe you are on a budget, or maybe you forgot, you were in a hurry and you forgot your adapter at home, or you didn't buy one, check the hotel that you're staying in. They may have adapters that you can use. You may have to pay a fee in order to use them, or ask the hotel concierge or the hotel staff where you can purchase an adapter. You may have to pay more, but I promise you it is a lot better than trying to shove your electronics into an outlet that it's not supposed to go in and you cause a fire and then you're having to pay a lot more money. And this last tip that I want to give you, you may or may not want to do. I do it because whenever I travel, I try to either take public transportation or walk. I find it's the best way to really discover a city, and that is to research the area you're going to be in should you need to walk. The reason why is because you don't want to be that person out looking at your phone and screaming, "I'm a tourist," because I have my phone out and I have no idea where on this planet I am. So you want to research kind of how to get from point A to point B before you go. Now, of course, you don't have to memorize all of it. I have done that before, but you don't have to memorize it. You could just say, okay, my hotel is in this area. I can walk down this one street and turn right to get to this one tourist attraction I want to see, or turn left to get to a different attraction I want to see. Kind of have a general idea of your surroundings by walking before you actually get there. This is a safety thing, and should for some reason your phone die, it can save you. I've had that happen to me too. Traveling internationally can be a lot of fun, but it can also be a lot. And having all of these tips for you and having them taken care of before your trip will make all of the allotness a lot less. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you want to know when the next video comes out, then subscribe. And I look forward to seeing everyone in the next video. Bye!